All right, so today's class is on topic 7, which is called the sixth extinction. So we're going to go over some key terms here first for species in danger. So when we talk about a species that's gone extinct, that means the species no longer exists anywhere in the world. Mostly, the main reason is usually habitat loss. So habitat loss it's usually the main reason why so many species are threatened with extinction because humans are taking over their habitats and using it for other things like agricultural uses and farming or buildings and so on. Introduced species is another reason. Introduced species, that's when species from a different part of the world is introduced into another part of the world and they don't have any natural enemies or so on, and so they are able to thrive and survive and take over that area. Pollution, it's another reason. Changes in climate, as well as overhunting and overfishing. So just some key terms here. When we say something is threatened, those are species whose numbers are declining. Endangered, these are organisms that are so rare that they are in serious danger of becoming extinct. And then extirpated, that is a local extinction, meaning a species no longer exists in a particular area, but they may still exist elsewhere in the world. So scientists say that right now we are in our sixth extinction. So there have been 5 major declines in Earth's biodiversity in the last 600 million years. And scientists are saying that we are in our sixth extinction. It's an estimated of about 70 extinctions per day. And therefore, as the rate of extinction increases, the biodiversity in the world is decreasing. Here we just have a figure that shows the relative numbers of species of each type of animal on Earth, and it's the insects in the blue and small organisms like centipedes that show the greatest biological diversity with 963,000 species. But keep in mind, there's a lot of species that scientists don't know about yet, okay, that are going extinct that we weren't even aware of because there's so many species, for example, in the rainforest. Okay, so here in rainforests, what's happening here, we have scientists studying a hotspot in a tropical rainforest. So one way that they can measure biodiversity of an area, here they use a smoke bomb, for example. It's used to get a sample of insects in this forest canopy. It's a biodegradable insecticide that's sprayed into the upper tree canopy, and then the affected insects, they fall down into plastic sheets that are set out below. And so when they used this technique in the rainforest of Peru, they got 43 species of ants just from one application and only in one tree, right? So in comparison, that's equal to the entire ant fauna of the British Isles. So basically, scientists are guessing or estimating that 1 hectare of Panamanian rainforest may have over 18,000 species of beetles, most which are like unknown to science. Comparing that to Canada and the United States, there's about 24,000 beetle species that have been identified. So there's still many species out there that haven't been identified, and they may already be going extinct or are already extinct because of all those factors we talked about previously. Okay, here it's just a fact or the theories that scientists were coming up with, but the best guess for when dinosaurs went extinct The best guess is that a large meteorite hit Earth somewhere off the coast of this peninsula here in Mexico. So a lot of debris went into the atmosphere, which blocked the rays of the sun. Therefore, photosynthesis couldn't continue because there was no light from the sun. And then all the food chains collapsed because there was no plants. Other theories involve things like massive volcanoes or just periodic changes in the world's climate. Some scientists think that it's not a single event, but maybe it occurred over a period of time. All right, but right now the best guess is the large meteorite that hit Earth. All right, so we have a couple of videos here to watch. One is the TED Ed and one is the Be Smart. So 1 second. All right, so human impact on biodiversity. So these are changes in the environment that are caused by human activity, and it's occurring so rapidly that many species, they don't have time to evolve and adapt, because evolving and these adaptations, they take along like hundreds of thousands of years to adapt. But these human activities and pollution and plastics and so on that we were talking about, these changes are occurring so rapidly that these species, they don't have time to evolve and adapt, and therefore they're going extinct. So again, those key terms we talked about: extirpation, it's the extinction of a species from specific geographic areas, and then extinction is the disappearance of every individual of a species from the entire planet. So here, Arctic animals such as the caribou, they are threatened by increasing temperatures in the region. So as it becomes warmer, they have to migrate farther and farther north. So many scientists believe, and they agree, that it's increasing these greenhouse gases because of human activities that are causing the warmer temperatures. Okay, there is an investigation in the textbook called Where Have the Grizzlies Gone?, which basically looks like this. So just 150 years ago, between 50,000 and 100,000 grizzly bears roamed western North America, from the grasslands of Saskatchewan to the coast of the Pacific Ocean, and as far south as Mexico. Today, grizzlies occupy less than 2% of their original range. The disappearance of the grizzly from all of Mexico and most of the United States is an example of extirpation, which is the extinction of species in certain locales. As settlers moved from east to west, the bear disappeared. And although many grizzly bears were killed by hunters, the reasons for the bear's rapid decline is more complex than that. It has to do with a lot of things, especially the range and habitat loss and so on. All right, so over time, climates change and natural disasters do occur. Complex interactions between plants, animals, and their changing environments result in successful and unsuccessful species. So when we had talked about natural selection chooses, in quotes here, winners, which have adapted. As for the others, scientists estimate that 99% of all species in the history of Earth no longer exist. But today, changes in the environment that are caused by human activity occur so rapidly that many species don't have that time to evolve and adapt. What are some changes that certain species may have trouble adapting to? So like we talked about already, things like climate change, global warming, loss of habitat, pollution, and so on. Okay, there are these species that are called bioindicator species, and these species are used by scientists. Basically, they help indicate environmental change. So example, like grizzly bears, wolves, and cougars. Historically, the first effects of human interference in an ecosystem is loss of these large carnivores, such as bears and wolves. So preservation of these animals goes hand in hand with the preservation of their habitats. Right, this was the wolverine the range of the wolverine has shrunk significantly over time. There were thought to be fewer than 1,000 breeding wolverines in Alberta in 1999. So wolverines, they live in the wild and the remote areas, and they usually avoid human settlements. All right, so bioindicator species, like we said, they are used to indicate a change in the environment or in the ecosystem. So let's watch the first one here, the TED-Ed. So frogs and amphibians are also another bioindicator species. They're sensitive to environmental changes. So when we see this disappearance of frogs, it's an indicator of something not being right in the ecosystem. So we just watched that TED-Ed video on bioindicator species and why are frogs disappearing. All right, so human impacts. Human population is increasing globally. There's a reduction in infant deaths. People are living longer. There's new methods to produce more food. There's better ways of preventing and treating diseases. So therefore, human population is increasing globally. But therefore, there's increased demands on the environment. Natural habitats are being cleared for farming. There's increased logging and mining for housing and consumer products. And there's also increased waste and increased pollution because of the increased human population. This example in rainforests, these are areas in there are areas in tropical rainforests that are often cleared to make small farms. Some trees are used for firewood, which is an inexpensive source of fuel. Land is also cleared to make way for cattle ranches or large pineapple or coffee plantations. But the loss of even a single area of rainforest can mean the extinction of specialist organisms that depend on the forest for food or protection. And the destruction of the rainforest is made more difficult to repair because the forest soil there has few nutrients. So the reason being is that in general, the nutrients will accumulate in the fast growing plants. Here, orangutans, they're tree dwelling primates that live in the rainforests of Sumatra and Borneo. They are endangered. They face a number of threats, such as the destruction of their habitat. Hunting and trapping has also reduced their numbers. All right, so for homework today, it is the brain pop on extinction. Here we are. So that is the homework for today.